Welcome back to episode 8. I'm David. This is Isaac. Bringing in a quick UFC episode here. Going to preview UFC 295 and a couple big fight announcements there for next year. So, kicking it right off with the light heavyweight title fight, Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira is a minus 125 favorite with Yuri at plus 100. Isaac, who do you got in this fight?
Personally, I'm a big fan of Alex Pereira, and I think I have him in this fight. I think he'll get a TKO finish in one of the later rounds, third, fourth, fifth round. I think he's got a big striking advantage against Yuri, even though Yuri definitely has the wrestling and grappling advantage. I'd say I think in Alex's last fight, he proved that he can kind of weather the storm and still do some significant damage, and I think it'll kind of be a similar fight to what happened with his last fight.
With Pavlovich, yeah. So Yuri, he defeated Alex's teammate Glover Teixeira for the light heavyweight belt, sustained a major injury, and vacated the belt. So he never lost the belt. That fight against Glover Teixeira, if anyone that hasn't seen that fight, go watch that fight. That is one of my favorite fights ever. It was an absolute bloodbath. There's great striking, great grappling. I thought the fight could have been finished like 4 or 5 times. It was just a war. And Yuri was down on the cards, but got a last-minute submission. And he looked like a beast in that fight. So he's got just wild striking. And I would say his grappling is probably pretty comparable to Pavlovich. And Pereira was able to sustain the grappling against Pavlovich and get that decision win. I got this fight really close. My early lean was Yuri, but I thought about it some more, watched some film. I don't know. I think Pereira gets this job done. I don't think it's going to be a domination, but I think those leg kicks are going to add up. Pereira's got some of the best leg kicks in the UFC. He's got a dangerous left hand. That left hook is lethal. Yeah, I think it's going to be a war. I think it's going to go later rounds. I could see a late finish, like you said. I could see a decision either way. I think the key for Yuri is he has to implement his grappling. I think Blachowicz is a much more willing grappler than Prochazka. I think he's going to want to try to strike with Alex, but he can strike too. He doesn't have the same pedigree as Pereira. Pereira's a
lot better striker than Jan was, though.
Yeah, a much better striker than Jan. Yuri just throws wild shit, elbows, knees, everything. So if he can catch Alex has been knocked out before. He could be knocked out again. This is a great fight.
I think for Yuri to win, I think he's kind of got to implement the same game plan as Jan and try to take Alex down early, wear him out a little. So then maybe in the later rounds you can find some success on the feet. He's a little more tired out. And, Alex's last fight against Jan is only 3 rounds, so this would be 5 rounds. So you kind of get to see if the wrestling wears down on a little more than just in a 3-round fight too.
Yeah, so just looking at some of the statistics here for this fight, Yuri's 6'3", Pereira's 6'4". Yuri has a 1-inch reach advantage. Striking stats, pretty comparable. Yeah, it's a very well-balanced fight. Great matchmaking by the UFC. And I'm excited for that one. We've also got a crazy co-main event for the interim heavyweight championship.
Oh, yeah.
Sergey Pavlovich, 18-1. He won his last, I think, 6 fights by first-round finish. It's just an absolute unit. His power is out of this world. Goes up against Tom Aspinall. Also got a lot of quick finishes under his belt. What's your lean on this fight?
See, it's close. I definitely, no matter what happens, someone's getting, put on the canvas and finished. But after, going back and forth, I got Sergey winning. I think he's going to win by KO, obviously. I just think his powers, they both got crazy power, but Sergey, 18-1, man, just unreal. And I think he'll get some success with Tom. I think it's going to be really close. It could go either way, but I'm leaning Sergey by KO. Who do you have?
Yeah, I personally think Aspinall gets this win. Obviously, if Pavlovich finds that chin, it's over. Pavlovich has absurd power. I mean, rivals Francis Ngannou power, in my opinion. Like, it's just out of this world. Looking at some stats for this one, too. Pavlovich is 6'3", Aspinall 6'5". But Pavlovich has a 6-inch reach advantage that could come into play. But Pavlovich is pretty much just a striker. He's doesn't initiate any grappling whatsoever, and that's got to be Aspinall's game plan. He cannot try to get into a bloodbath with Pavlovich. Pavlovich is the king of those first round wars where you just put your head down and swing. He knocked out Derek Lewis in 55 seconds and Tuivasa in 54 seconds. Kind of claimed the crown on that one. Aspinall's gotta shoot early. Gotta get that takedown early. I think if he can get that takedown, he can keep him down. I think he gets a sub. And most times when you see striker versus grappler, the grappler usually gets the job done. So I'm kind of leaning on Aspinall to get an early sub.
Yeah. I definitely could see Aspinall. Like, I think he should, if I think his best game plan would be try to take it to the ground, get something going, maybe look for a submission. But I think, the way he's been talking, I think he wants to come out there and, swing with Pavlovich. And I don't think that's a good decision. I think, get hit with one clean shot, and, that could be a night for Tom.
Yeah, Pavlovich is a bad man.
He is. Like, I'd love to see him and Francis fight. I think that'd be a sick fight too.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah. Whew. Someone's lights are getting put out there too. I'm willing to bet.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that card?
Like, it's a shame John Jones is gone, but I think they gave us a pretty good fight to make a very interesting fight, I'd say, to make up for it.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have the star power. I mean, Pavlovich and Aspinall are not the most well-known fighters amongst like the casual fan, but if you tune in, it's gonna be exciting. Like, I can almost guarantee an early finish, and yeah, you'll be on the edge of your seat for that one. I'm willing to bet.
Yeah.
We also got some huge fight announcements for 2024, kicking it off with Sean Strickland defending his belt against Dricus du Plessis. Strickland 6'1", du Plessis 6'1". They both have a 76-inch reach. I mean, pretty much identical stats there, as you can see. Strickland dethroned Adesanya for the belt. Yeah. Adesanya was the king of that division, and Strickland took it from him. And du Plessis just came off a dominant performance against Whitaker. And Whitaker is one of the most well-respected fighters in the UFC. Great fight there. Strickland's coming in as a minus 150 favorite. Du Plessis plus 125 dog. What's your lean?
See, I think it's a very close fight. Both of them really coming off dominant performances in their last fights against, who are probably the two best middleweights for a long time in the division.
Yeah.
I'm leaning Strickland probably in the later rounds by TKO. It's kind of what I'm thinking. I think.
You think he just kind of weathers the storm and uses his cardio?
I think he does, man. I was, really impressed, like how long he just kept the pressure on Adesanya, just constant. Yeah. And it's been coming out, Rogan was talking about it, like how much this man spars and like all he and it shows. It really, like, after you hearing that, like, it really shows, like, in his fights how he's got the dog in him. He keeps going.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm personally leaning Strickland. Who do you got?
I'm rocking with the underdog in this one, du Plessis. I think he's more well-rounded. I think he's got more power, better wrestling. I don't know. Strickland's got great striking, like some of the best cardio in the UFC. He's not going to gas. Du Plessis had a tendency to gas in some of his previous fights, but he claims that he got surgery on his nose, and he claims that that's what was causing him to gas out. So if that's true and his cardio issues are resolved, then I think if not, I think he's toast. In a 5-round fight, Strickland's just going to weather the storm and put it on you late. But I don't know. Strickland recently just won the belt. see him all over social media. I wonder how much that's getting into his head. How motivated is he? I think Du Plessis is hungry. He is hungry. Yeah. He was supposed to fight Adesanya for that belt, but he got hurt and couldn't make it, and the UFC basically told him to go fuck himself. But this was supposed to be Hamzat, was supposed to be fighting, but I'm pretty sure Hamzat is injured. I think he broke his hand in the first round of that Usman fight. Yeah. So he probably gets the winner. Either way, that's a great fight. But yeah, I think I got Du Plessis personally.
I think this will be a really good fight too. I think it's a toss up. I think it's a close. I think if it goes 8, I like Strickland, and I could see Du Plessis, putting it on him early and maybe getting him on the ground looking for a submission, or even finishing him. I don't know. I think, but I'm excited to see this fight for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Another big fight announced: Alex Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. Haven't quite seen too many official odds on this one. Just some rough odds that I did some looking for. Got Volkanovski at -170, Topuria at +145. And so Volkanovski's 5'6", Topuria 5'7". Volkanovski with the 2.5-inch reach advantage. The big key there for me is Volkanovski 35 years old, Topuria 26 years old. Volkanovski just got head kick knocked out by Makhachev not that long ago, and he talked about some mental struggles that he was having. I'm hoping he's doing good. I'm a big Volkanovski fan. Yeah. I think it's an all-time great. But make that quick turnaround against Topuria. Topuria's a hammer, man. He's got missiles for hands. I mean, I'd hate to see it, but I could see Topuria getting a knockout in this one. I don't know. It's hard to pick against Volkanovski. Volkanovski's an all-time great. He's absolutely dominated this division. So I could look pretty stupid for this one, but I don't know. Topuria might be the up-and-coming guy. Volkanovski's getting old.
I mean,
his day.
If Volk were to lose this, I could see him retiring. I don't see. I don't think he would go. I don't think he'd be interested in fighting if it's not for a belt. Maybe a match, but.
I could see some interesting matchups at lightweight for him, like him versus Oliveira, him versus Gaethje, him versus Poirier. Those would all be
they'd be good.
Very interesting fights.
Personally, I think Volkanovski's going to be hungry. After
that's true.
2 losses back, even though he only took the Islam fight on. He took it on 12 days notice, so got to cut him a little bit of slack. But just a beautiful head kick by Islam, and then. But that's got to be so demoralizing, after having an absolute war and then just getting head kicked. But I'm personally taking Volk. I think Volk's just, like you said, one of the best to ever do it and dominate the division for years. And I think he'll come out. I could see him by decision. I could see him by submission. I think there's a few ways he gets it done. But I think Topuria is actually going to give him quite a run for his money. One of the better fights we've seen at the division since, remember back a while, man. But
yeah. I think Topuria's obviously let's not count Makhachev here. At featherweight, Topuria is the most dangerous fight Volk's had, possibly ever. I mean, the power he possesses, his submission game. He's a young, hungry fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, Volk could really make me look stupid here, and I'm rooting for him. I'm cheering for him. I hope he wins, but it's going to be a tough battle for him. I'd love to see him pull it out.
A lot of things are pointing to, this could be an upset. I think a lot of things, Volk's coming off 2 losses. Volk's getting up there in age. This guy's Topuria's young and up-and-comer. Got some power in his hands.
No.
14 never lost, and I think this will be a tough fight for Volk, but I'm a Volk fan, so I hope he gets it done personally.
Yeah, me too. And then the last big fight, Dana announced Sean O'Malley makes his first defense, gets his rematch against Chito Vera. O'Malley 5'11", Vera 5'8". O'Malley's got the 1.5-inch reach advantage. makes his first defense since his crazy victory over Sterling. Who you got in this fight?
Well, personally, I got Sean probably by KO. But I'm not happy to see this fight personally because I think Merab's been robbed of a title shot. I also think Aljo should have a rematch. Like he had multiple title defenses, but I think what happened is Dana, wanted to get Sean O'Malley a title defense. I think he's confident he could beat Cheeto, and he knows that if he fought two of the
He doesn't want him going up against Merab. Stylistically, that's not favorable for Sean.
No, he knows the only way he wins is how he beat Aljo is just a bomb that connects her, because he just can't wrestle with the likes of them. So I think Sean wins this fight. I think it'll be an entertaining fight. I think Sean's gonna want it bad after his only loss to Cheeto, but I personally would have rather see Merab or Aljo fight this fight because I think they're just more deserving to be.
Yeah, I see the case for that. On the kind of to play devil's advocate on that, this division's so stacked that I can understand why they didn't give the immediate rematch, just with how many top dogs are in this division cracking at the door. And there's questions about if Sterling is going to move up because he's also teammates with Merab, so they don't really want to compete against each other. And that's Dana's excuse for not giving Merab the title shot is that since he didn't want to fight his best friend, that that's not what we do here. So
he was
back of the line, bud.
They never fight each other. He never liked that, and I always found that funny how like cheesy got by it.
Like the other thing too, why they would make the Cheeto fight is for O'Malley to avenge that loss. That's just a big money fight, whereas Merab's a pretty boring fighter. Like all he does is he just spams takedowns and sniffs crotches, and it's not the most exciting thing to watch.
Yeah.
Me personally, I guess I didn't give my pick on this one yet. I also got to go Sean. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sean fought Peter Yan. Peter Yan's one of my favorite fighters. I think he lost that fight. I'll take that to my grave.
I think he
Don't
lost.
care what anyone says.
A lot of people think he lost that fight.
I thought Sterling was going to dominate him, and might have lost a bit of dough on that one. No comment, but Sean proved me wrong, man. He landed a bomb, got Aljo out of there. Questions about an early stoppage. A lot of people think it was. I mean, me personally, when you're on the ground like that, getting teed off on, I mean, what's the ref supposed to do?
I mean, I thought it was a little premature, but it's not an egregious, early stoppage by any means, I think.
Yeah, I mean, actually, now that I think about it, in real time, I might have been biased, but I thought it could have been. It was a bit premature, but I mean, at that point, like, what was he really gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, Cheeto's a good striker. I don't even know if he necessarily has a better grappling advantage. Sean's grappling
is under a little
suspect, but I don't think it's like putrid. I think Sean can grapple a bit.
Yeah.
He can Vera's definitely got more. Vera's got a handful of submissions in his career. He's got 8 wins by submission, but his 2 fights ago he fought Corey Sandhagen, who's another top contender in that division, and he just got embarrassed. Like, he just got dominated. So that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth on Cheeto. Just watching him get dominated like that really just got completely outclassed. But he bounced back and got a win over Pedro Munoz. But I don't know. I think Sean's striking's a bit too good. I think he's a bit too quick.
I think Sean
should be close, but I think Sean gets the win.
What are the odds on that? I imagine Sean.
Yeah, sorry. I meant to say them. Again, fairly rough odds since these are brand new fights, but it's looking like O'Malley minus 200, Vera plus 170.
Those seem like pretty fair. Those be the odds back for that.
I think those are good odds. Personally, I'm not playing that.
Yeah.
But that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep. We got lots of good fights. Any other comments there?
Just excited for some nice headline fights coming up.
Lots of big fights like usual. The UFC keeps pumping them out, and yeah.
Keep watching them because they're some good fights. Yeah.